Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hi, Riti. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ife. Good
Yeah.
afternoon.
Thank you for joining in. Thank you for accepting my invite. Thank you for giving time to this session. And I know there's a whole lot to learn from you today because essentially what we'll be looking at today is your security is your responsibility. And I don't think in the caliber of people that I know, well, not know closely like that I've seen across the internet right now. I don't think there's any other person who will probably do justice to that other than yourself right now. Just because I know you are making wave in that ecosystem of cybersecurity. I kind of like follow you closely on social media, and I see what you do. And in fact, too, the surprising thing that I was just speaking with a guy in my church about some weeks back when he saw the invite and he said, "Oh, you're bringing my mentor," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah." I don't know. So I think you're doing a lot in that field, and it's a privilege to have you on the show. It's a privilege for you to also be sharing your knowledge with us about cybersecurity, what people should watch out for, what they should do. And by the way, Ibeti is a multiple award-winning cybersecurity expert, PhD holder in it, for that matter. So thank you for joining us, and I'll allow you to introduce yourself to everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Hello to all the listeners. My name is Iretioluwa Akerele. I have a PhD in Information Systems Security. So let
I
me
do a
start.
drum roll for that.
My name is Dr. So let,
Sorry, I forgot the doctor. Sorry. I'm
so
sorry
let me
about that.
start again. My name is Dr. Iretioluwa Akerele. I have a PhD in Information Systems Security. I've been doing cybersecurity now for over a decade. I have academic experience, industry experience, and also consulting experience. I own my own company, CyberRick Limited. I also co-founded an organization called CyBlack. The main goal of the organization is to support people who are looking to start a career in cybersecurity.
Right, thank you. Nice.
Yeah. So I do a lot around mentorship, coaching people, career support, career guidance. The goal for me is to see more people get into this field, and basically because there's just these comments around we don't have enough people, we don't have enough skills, but there's not much around. What can we do to bring people in? So that's where I come in. I do a lot
Right.
to ensure that we get more people into the field. Yeah, I'm so
Right.
happy to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Iretioluwa. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think we have a couple of those informations later. I know that you've got mentorship sessions, you've got a lot of those things just to help people get into the field. We'll come back to those later. Today essentially we're just focusing on one thing. The internet is very wide, it's very large, and I think one thing people really do not pay attention to is their security, which is where you come in, being an expert in that field, and you consult for not just people now and for large organizations as well. So the topic then comes to mind: what role do I play in securing myself? What role do we as humans play? And I mean, these days AI has even now like made everything. So I mean, I did read a comment about, was it a comment or a post from somebody, and then the person said, "Oh, hope you know that whatever GPT it is can now tell somebody else about you if you don't probably protect your data very well." So I'll just ask, like, from your own perspective, what brought about cybersecurity to you? How did you get into tech? How did you get into cybersecurity?
Okay, that's a good question. So you want to take me back to how I started, my background. So I've shared my story a lot of times. I started by doing a BSc in Management Information Systems.
Ooh,
Graduated from the university in 2009. I finished at Covenant University. That's a long time now. And,
nice.
after the university education, it's always a case of, so what next?
What
So what
next?
next for me at that time was I did my compulsory NYSC, which was
NYC.
1 year. I finished that. And then, of course, like a typical young graduate, I started looking for jobs. So I was lucky at that time. 1 year after, I got a job in a bank in
One
Nigeria.
year after, lucky.
Yeah, I got a job in the bank, and I I was in the risk management department at that time. So it was just very operational, business as usual, and all of those things. And one of those days, my dad just called me into the room, and he was like, "You can't continue like this. Do something with your life. What's next? You're just going. You wake up very early in the morning. By 5 a.m., you've left the house. You come back very late at night, sometimes 10 p.m., 11 p.m. and he wasn't really pleased with what I was doing at that time. So, and then he was like, start looking for schools. Just think about furthering your education and all that. I would sponsor you. So that I started my search for schools for further education. So the first course I came across was business information systems, and that was because I studied management information systems at my undergrad. So I was like, okay, this sounds really good, but just very close to a few, I think a few months or a few weeks after then, I changed my mind. And then it was because my friend was doing something around forensics. So I was like, okay, this forensics sounds very cool. And that time,
Yeah,
cybersecurity was not very common.
I was never.
This forensics sounds really cool. Let me just check online. So I went online and I put in masters in forensics. And the first thing that came out was information security and computer forensics. So I
Hmm.
checked it out, checked his school. I was like, okay, this looks nice. I didn't know what security was at that time, but it just sounded cool to me. And I was like, okay, let's go for this thing that sounds cool. So that was how I changed my admission
Nice.
immediately from business information systems to that. I applied, I got the admission. So 2013, I moved to the UK, started the master's program, and the rest is history. So that was how I moved
Amazing.
into the cybersecurity field.
Amazing, amazing. I think that's a wonderful journey. And then thanks to your dad for bringing who you are now. Well, I would say he kind of like just added the push. Maybe you already had it in you. So I think that's a nice kind of like journey for someone who's like now an expert. But again, if you look at it and say you got into forensics information system, is it what it is now? Was it what it is now then? Or you had to now like develop yourself more? Like how, because what the demand for cybersecurity is right now. I mean, I work in a place where security is taken very seriously. You can't even change A to B without first considering the security around it. So was it what it was then, or is it what it was then? Like, is that the same thing now? How did you help yourself to be relevant? Because I mean, say you start doing your masters about 12 years ago, that's 2013, yeah. Whatever you were studying then, is it what is relevant now? Or you've had to work your way down to understanding what the requirements of this day, present day is, and that has made you relevant. Because I know that you are a multi-award winning person. You've done so much in that space. How did you transition
Okay,
over the
that's
years?
a very good question. So the thing about cybersecurity is that it is always evolving. And you said that when we started, you talked about AI and all of that. So 12, 10 years ago, we're not talking about AI.
Mm-hmm.
12, 10 years ago, we're not talking about threat intelligence. We're not talking about cloud security. We're not, so some of these sophisticated technologies that we are seeing today, we're not talking about them many years ago. So the thing about cybersecurity is that you need to be able to stay relevant in the field. And by being relevant, you need to continue to keep up to date with the trends, with the technologies, with the standards, with the frameworks, with whatever is going on in the field. Connect with people, support, join communities and all that. Because this is 2025 now.
Yeah.
100% sure that in another 10 to 15 years, what we are talking about today and the kind of threats
Does
we are
it
dealing with today
does it
is not
even
what
have
we
to
are going
get
to be
there?
looking at. So,
It does look like tomorrow something can just change
yeah,
really at the pace at which it's moving right
yeah,
now.
that's the
So
thing about the field. Yes.
yeah. So now to a layman, right? What then comes to mind when they say your security is your responsibility? Because essentially that's what we're talking about today. And I want this to really reach out to audience where even aside from professionals or businesses, individuals themselves, what comes to mind for you as a professional in or an expert in that field? What comes to mind when we say your responsibility? Because I do know that I've taken course that says that your responsibility, your data is your responsibility. Forget Google, forget anyone. It always says that your data is your responsibility. What comes to mind as an expert that you are for people?
Okay, that's a very good question. Your security is your responsibility. In fact, we always say that there's a saying that information security is incomplete without you. So it
Mm-hmm.
means that you to be able to secure your information, you have to be present, isn't it? You have to be
Yes.
responsible. So first, as a layman, what I would say is that everything you need to secure, everything you need to protect, you need to know it. What do I have? How many phones do I have? How many laptops? What are my devices and all that? You need to know all of those things. Now, what are
Right.
the kind of things you can put in place to secure those devices that you know? So, for example, your phone is prompting you to update your software, but you are pushing back. You don't want to update because you still want to chat with that person you are chatting with, or you're just pushing back, or you're not having backups in place, you're not using strong passwords, or you're careless about it, you're sharing your password with your maid to help you, you know, maybe withdraw money or something, or all those kind of funny things. So your security is your responsibility means that you are responsible for protecting your data and information. Know what to share, know what you shouldn't share. It's not every giveaway that you should participate in. Mother's maiden name, you've dropped it. Another person is telling
Ooh.
you, drop your password, you've dropped it. Another person is saying, this credit card or debit card looks nice. Can I see the front and back? You've posted it quickly. And all of those
Wow.
things. Another person is saying, drop your account number, you've dropped it. So somebody out there is doing threat intelligence and they are putting two and two together. And before you know what's going on, they've matched all the pieces together and have already gotten some certain level of information just because you want to win something on the internet. So your security is your responsibility. You are responsible for everything that you share. You are
Do you know,
responsible
I've
for
just
your
learned something. I've
assets.
just learned the fact that people could use different set of data, right? And then just match one and two, like you said, threat intelligence, and then like find out maybe things that even you yourself think that you're actually keeping yourself. And then that brings me to the next question, which is like, what do you think are the most overlooked security mistakes we make? I mean, I think you've delved into some of them, but what do you think are the major ones we make, like as humans or as laymen generally?
I think overlooked mistakes is that we trust easily. It's not a
Hmm.
bad thing to trust, but if you want to have a security mindset, your trust has to be zero trust, and that's
Wow.
what security is about. Take for example, this is the social media age, and because it's the social media age, it's very easy to make friends, unlike back then
Mm-hmm.
that you have to wait for someone to come speak to you. But right now you can just be on your phone, maybe join a dating site or even go online and see someone that is making a certain kind of post and you're interested in them, but you're not doing any kind of due diligence. The person just starts talking to you, and before you know it, you're already sharing
Your
some sensitive
friends.
information. You are going deep, 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 and all of that, and you are trusting. It's not a bad thing to trust. Again, don't get me wrong, but
Right.
you have to ensure that you do your real due diligence. Some of these people, they just want to get some information off you. They want to scam you. They want to defraud you. All of these things that we talk about, they want to take your
Yeah.
data. They want to use it against you. So knowing that you can't just give in immediately like that, you need to, get to a level where the trust is built, not just give everything all out away, is very important. Another thing
Right.
is the type of information we share publicly. Another key one I will talk about is there's something that happens on social media now whereby people tag their bank. Maybe they have an issue with a bank and they tag the bank on social media to say, I'm currently facing this issue. Then what happens is that
Then somebody
a
messages them.
replica of that bank will message them and say, send us so, we'll treat the issue for you. And before you
Wow.
know it, this person has sent confidential information, not verifying that is the same bank that they are messaging publicly that is in their DM. And before you know
Right.
it, the money in their account is gone. So these are some mistakes that people don't pay attention to. The way security works is that you need to be paranoid. You need to get to a point that
Hmm.
you are security conscious. You can't just give everything away like that. You need to protect your information. You need to understand which is legit, which is valid, which is not legit. So when you're interacting, you need to pay extra attention, and you can't just give in and give every information
But
to
you
just
know, but you
anybody.
know, instance. Sorry if I cut in, but you know, instances where people are kind of like maybe desperate situation, maybe in a panic mood. Somebody's just trying to send money to someone, and maybe it's your last cash, and you just found out that the money is yet to reach out and to reach the next person. And the next person is pressuring you, and you feel like, oh, I mean, because I've heard it before, maybe like in 2021 or something. And then somebody said, oh, if you needed something, that was the time when there was this lot of Form A thing. And someone said, oh, if you needed your the attention of your bank or something, the best thing is to do is just go on Twitter, tag that bank and say, I need so I need this, I need that. I mean, that's a desperate mode time for that person. How do you then pay attention? Because I know you've said that security requires that you pay attention, but in such situations, what are the things to look out for? Because I know that people like you, professionals or experts like you have things that easily you can identify that, oh no, like for me now, I probably know some, right? Like there's some things that you could just say, no, this cannot be from a bank. Like how do you then, like, for people like that who are in desperate situation, how do they like identify such schemes or like models?
Sometimes the username would give it away. So you
Hmm.
see the bank, the handle of that bank, right? Most likely would have one, lots of followers. Two, maybe they are verified and the
Right.
username is clear with the logo. So if you do a search, what you will find for that bank is not only that legitimate handle. You'll find some
Hmm.
other handles that are trying to be show that they're also the bank.
Just a clone.
So you do like a comparison before you even send it. So before you rush to send a DM because you're panicking, you first compare. What's the
Hmm.
username? Sometimes it's just maybe a letter that is missing or something that is missing, or even
Hmm.
the profile name is not the same. So you need to ensure that you always compare because there's always something that would give it away. And the kind of information they would ask you in the DM is also very important. No bank
Yeah.
would ask, and the banks also say it. We will not ask you for your PIN. So you're in the DM and you're already sharing your PIN with them. That's a red flag. Why are you sharing your PIN
Right.
with them? So they will always tell you when they send emails, protecting your our customers' information is important to us. We will never ask you for your PIN at any point
Hmm.
in time. So they ask you, you are panicking, and you get a DM that says share your PIN. So you shared everything, your card details, your PIN. Before you know, it's just a second. Your money is gone from your account.
Wow.
So you have to, pay extra attention. What are the information that they're asking for me? Are you
Hmm.
getting me? So those things are very
Yeah.
important because if you don't take that due diligence, you lose everything you've worked for, and it's just like you're
Hmm.
starting again from ground zero. And it doesn't
Right.
take you more than 2-3 minutes to do like a due
To check.
diligence check. So which is very
Right.
important.
Thank you for that words. I mean, it just looks as if I'm listening to, the way those banks say when they probably when you call them and then they say we will never ask you for this. It just looks as if you are just repeating and kind of like reiterating the same thing, but now in a more explanatory way. And it now brings me to something, because I know that the most vulnerable set of people, to be honest, are always kind of like maybe I won't call them children, or maybe the youth, the younger ones, the younger generations, and the elderly ones, because most times these are kind of like people they target. Oftentimes maybe the elderly ones who probably, that they won't probably be like tech savvy or like internet savvy, and maybe the like young ones and maybe the desperate ones too. So how do you think we can help these people, or these people can help themselves in understanding some of these schemes too? I know, yeah, some people you want to say do search and stuff like that, but there are instances where some of these elderly people have just been reached out to. Maybe they get an SMS and say, "Oh, you need your account is expiring." I mean, I use you get some that just call their children and say, "Somebody said my account is expiring, so I should send so." Some will maybe ask their children. Some don't even have people around to ask, and the next thing they just do is just send those information. How do people like this then kind of like avoid finding themselves in such situations?
That's a good question. So senior citizens are the elderly
Hmm.
people. They are
Yeah.
actually very vulnerable. Also, again, very important for them not to be quick to send those kind of information. Sometimes they get messages from people saying we're in the same WhatsApp group, send us a code. I've seen some
Mm-hmm.
senior citizens fall victim of that. So ensuring that they verify, they validate before sending out such information. Also knowing that your one-time password or those codes that you receive are for you. It's not for you to share with anyone else. So having that mindset, I think also the children of these senior citizens also doing some sort of basic awareness for them from time to time, just letting them know that this is your information and it's personal to you. I've seen cases where senior citizens give like their caretakers, people taking care of them, their passwords, maybe give them their debit card and say, go to that place, withdraw this money for me. All of those
Mm-hmm.
things. I mean, those are things that they should desist from. I know that sometimes because of stress of going to those places, they just want something easier for them. But thank God for internet banking, and some of those things. So embracing technology also is very important for these people so that they don't get to that point that they are sharing their passcodes, their pins,
Personal
their
details.
passwords, and things like that. Also ensuring that from time to time they update their software also and protect their information, back up their sensitive data. Those are like basic things that everybody should be able to do, and I think senior
Mm.
citizens should also embrace all of those things. And for children or youth, younger ones, what I would say is that for children, for my kids, for example, there are some basic things that they know. One, if someone asks you, where do you live? You can't say your address. You can't tell strangers or people your address. You can't tell them where you live. Very, very
Right.
important. Someone is asking you, what is your password? You can't share your password. And, my children take it serious. They already know that they can't just give away their passwords to their tablet. And these are some of the things that they will get used to when they grow up. So those little things also matter because as they begin to grow, they understand that, okay, we are now responsible for our own systems too. We are responsible for whatever it is that we have. So ensuring that children also understand basic security. And for parents of these children, when you are posting a picture online, you shouldn't post a picture of your child in school uniform with the name
Mm.
of the school and all of those details because you're also
Yeah.
exposing those kids. So ensuring that you block it out or you just post their picture without those sensitive details or
Mm.
posting the church information and all of those things. Because again, people who want to have something against you, they just take all of those bits and pieces. And before you know what's going on, they try to start getting to know these children, trying to see the kind of information they can get off them. Don't forget that children are very innocent. Even when you
Mm-hmm.
tell them sometimes, don't share this, don't share that, with all the innocence, they can still decide to share, if someone comes to them in
Correct.
a certain kind of way. So it is important to ensure that these people are protected well enough so that they don't become victims of this kind of scams and frauds that can happen.
I think it's been an amazing session so far. I mean, a lot of knowledge being passed to people who are looking to get into the field, people who are like the senior citizens, youth, and it now comes to mind that okay, yes, we accept and everyone admits that our security is our responsibility. My security is my responsibility. But again, what roles do experts like you play, right, in ensuring that we're actually safe? So I'll cite an instance or an example. Now you've said that there are banks, which I know truly exist, where they have maybe social media handles and they have kind of like parody accounts. Not them having owning the parody accounts now, like some scammers existing somewhere now, creating other parody accounts in their name just to scam people. What are the roles or what roles do you people play as experts to like help people or to kind of like ensure that situations like that do not happen?
So the role we play mostly is comes from the preventive side.
Hmm.
The medical field, they will say prevention is better
Prevention
than
is better
cure.
than cure. Right.
It too. We play different roles. There's a preventive, there's a detective, there's a corrective. But
Hmm.
one of the key roles that we play comes from preventive, where we tell people that you need to understand that just like we are saying now, your security is your responsibility. So by doing that, we do like continuous awareness, sensitizing people, letting people know that this is bad practice, this is good practice,
Hmm.
these are the things that you should do to protect your data and yourself from harm. These are the things that you should not do. You shouldn't drop your phone number here, drop your account number there, your mother's
Mm-hmm.
maiden name, your dog's name, all of those things. And you are doing it because you want something from the internet, but don't forget that as
Internet
good
does
as the
not forget.
internet is, there are a lot of bad sides to it also. So ensuring that you keep all of those kind of information is also key. So we do like a lot of sensitization, continuous awareness, organization specific support. So supporting companies also that want,
Mm-hmm.
this kind of supporting. How can we protect our data? How can we protect our information? What are the things we need to do? And so on and so forth. So just ensuring that people are stay continuously aware because again, what cyber criminals want, what the fraudsters want is that for people not to know so that they can
Mm-hmm.
leverage on that, they can take advantage of that and use that to strike and steal their information or data.
Right. Okay, so thank you for that wonderful answer, right? And then the next now I was just going to say, right, is we know that yes, you guys can do the preventive side where you would advise us, which is majorly the role I know that a lot of cybersecurity professionals play. But when it now gets to a point where somebody falls a victim of this, how does that person like okay, take for instance now someone who's posted some stuffs online, maybe in the past and stuff like that. How do I remedy that kind of situation? Or even if I fall into the person has fallen into the hand of a scammer or something, or maybe I just think my data is all over the place, and I don't know. Maybe I can't call Facebook, I can't call Google to kind of like take it out. And how do you remedy such situation? Are there organizations to go to? Are there people to reach out to say, oh, I want this set of my data off the internet? I don't know how to go about it. How do you solve problems like that?
That's a good question. The sad thing is that sometimes the corrective measures can be painful, and sometimes you would have to probably learn from that,
Wow.
because there are some things that, for example, the internet, even when you erase something or you posted something and you deleted it, between me and you, it doesn't leave the internet. It
Wow.
remains. So you posted something, you've taken it off the internet, but between me and you, it doesn't leave the internet. It's there.
Wow.
There's a trail. It's there forever. So there are some times that you take some steps, you take some actions. You just have
Hmm.
to bear the repercussions. From an
Hmm.
organizational perspective, there are different things that can be done. There's something we call incident response, and there are like corrective measures to follow. Sometimes you probably need forensic experts to come in and things like that. But in all sincerity, that's why I always tilt more towards prevention, because when
That's
some
the
of these
best way.
attacks happen, breaches, data loss, and things like that, sometimes you have to pay the consequences. Even an organization, when they are doing incident
Mm-hmm.
response, they'll still have to pay the consequences in some way. Maybe in a way their reputation is at stake, or they've lost
Mm-hmm.
money, they've lost data, and things like that. So don't forget that corrective measures are painful, and
Hmm.
that's why we always advise people: protect your data, protect your information. Don't fall victim to scam. An
Hmm.
interesting thing I will just chip in quickly was that before I got into cybersecurity, I was a victim of a phishing attack. Back
Really?
then, the only bank account I had back then in Nigeria, and I think it was an email or a text, I can't remember now, and they said log into the bank and supply your bank details and your PIN to update
Mm-hmm.
something. It's a long time ago now, so I can't really remember, like 16 years ago. So immediately I saw that message, immediately I logged in, put in my account details, put in my PIN. It wasn't up to 1 second. All the money in my account was wiped. Everything was
Wow.
wiped. Immediately I put in my card details, everything was wiped. I went to the bank, which was not far from my house, just like 10 minutes walk. I got into the bank, I reported what happened. They said it was late, there's nothing they can do, that my money is gone, all of those things. So it was painful. So you see that corrective measures, sometimes you have to deal with the
Hard
consequences.
way to learn, really.
Learn. You will learn for. So it was really painful for me at that time. I'd not even started thinking about masters, because I just finished university at that time. I'd never done anything related to cybersecurity, so I didn't even
Hmm.
understand all of those things, but I fell victim of that. So very important too, and that's why we have a lot of things right now that is helping people, sensitizing people, making people
Mm-hmm.
understand the risk in doing some of the things that they are doing. So thankfully, we are at a better place now compared to 16 years ago that I'm
Are
talking
you
about.
sure? I'm afraid, really. I'm afraid with the AI thing. I'm afraid because I mean, those are kind of like going to be our closing thoughts in terms of like in this fast-paced evolution, like everything is just running as fast-paced. Are you sure we're protected really with AI?
So I'm saying that we're in a better place now in terms of awareness and sensitization. Don't forget that
Right.
with cybersecurity, we can't be 100%. If it
Mm-hmm.
is 100%, someone like me will be out of job. Because what will
Hmm.
I be doing? If everybody
I see what you
understands,
mean.
if all the systems are secure, if everybody is doing everything they should do, I will be out of job. There'll be nothing for
Hmm.
me to do, and many others. So with cybersecurity comes risk, and AI
Mm-hmm.
risk, of course, is one of them now that we are dealing with. But what I'm just trying to say is that it doesn't stop. We continue to
Right.
sensitize people, continue to let people know the risk, what they need to do to stay secure, how they can improve their security,
Mm-hmm.
protect their information, their data, their assets, and all of those things.
True. All right. Thank you for that. Just a few more things to just ask you. So now we've talked about the responsibility of like people in terms of keeping their own data, protecting themselves on the internet, wherever really. Then for people who are, because essentially the whole session or the whole idea of Tech Chat with Ife is to educate people, to inspire people who are within or thinking to get into the tech ecosystem. So for someone who is looking to get into your field, because I know that you can never be out of job, right? For someone who's getting or looking at getting into your field, how do you think such people can navigate?
That's a good question. So, getting into cybersecurity, first follow me on X. My page post,
Nice.
I have like lots and lots of resources on how to get started in cybersecurity. Another thing is, I always tell people that if you want to do cybersecurity, the interest must be there. You must understand the why. Why do you want to do it? Now, because it is even now more competitive,
Money.
it can be challenging, and there are so many things to learn. When I started, it wasn't as competitive as it is today. Meaning that, I finished my
Correct.
master's, I came back to Nigeria. I came back to Nigeria December 2014. By January 2015, I'd gotten my first job. It's not the
Hmm.
same thing now. Now it is very competitive. When you see a job out there, you are seeing 100 applicants, 150. So, what are you bringing to the table? So it means that as you are starting the journey, why do you want to do it? If your only motivation is money and the challenges come, you may back out because maybe your first 3 months you're not getting a dime from it, or your first 6 months, then there's no motivation for you to continue. So why do you want to do cybersecurity? So that interest is very important. What are the things that would help you in this journey? Do you want to join communities so that you can have access to like-minded people? So
Correct.
when you are locking in, the person you are talking to is also locking in. So everybody is locking in together, and it's easy for you to rub minds, share
Yes.
ideas. Are you able to get someone to mentor you and guide you in the journey so that you are clear in terms of your direction, your career path, and all of that? So those are the things that can help you to navigate the cybersecurity journey, because again, like I said, it has now become more challenging than it used to be back then, where
Correct.
you finish your school, very likely you get an opportunity, you get a job, a gig or something, but now you are competing with several other people. Even though they are saying there's still a shortage of skills, there are shortage of people, the truth still remains that it's still a very competitive field. So you have to bring
Yeah.
something to the table and do something
Yes.
differently.
Yes. Correct. Thank you for that wonderful answer response. Yeah. And then the last thing is, I already chipped it in the last time, so I'm just going to say that. What do you think with? I mean, I'm saying it very calmly, just because it bothers a lot of us. It bothers people, and what do you think about our data with the AI? Because we yourself, software engineer, everybody knows that these models are learning off our data. What do you think about that? How secure are we with that?
That's a very good question. And it's a good question because the kind of risks we were battling before AI is not different from the risks we are battling with AI. And the
Hmm.
truth is, AI has come to stay. There's in
Of
fact now
course.
companies have now realized that AI has come to stay, and they're now developing policies on the
Yeah.
use of AI, because whether you like it or not, it's not going anywhere. Now let me give an instance of what you're asking. Just last week or so, I was going through my Instagram, and I saw a post. And in that post, the person posted different videos, I think about 8 to 10 videos that were AI generated, of people conversing, right? And in the comment section, some people were saying that the
It's a
faces
real
in this
one.
video are familiar faces, more like they've seen them somewhere before. So how do you tell that this is a real video from an AI generated video? An example of what that can lead to is, even in the cybersecurity world, something like that has happened, where the only real person in the video was in a video meeting with other people that were AI generated. And because of that, this person approved some amount of money, and their organization lost that.
Wow.
So this is practical AI risk that we are talking about. There's the voice generation part of it too. There's phishing emails now looking real than ever.
Real.
Before, they will tell you grammatical errors. Now we don't see grammatical errors again. So AI has transformed a lot of things. So what do we need to do? First, to understand that it has come to stay. And
Hmm.
artificial intelligence is feeding off a lot of data. A lot of data are out there for AI to feed on. When you ask, say, ChatGPT, for example, a question, sometimes it sources all over the web, sources data, information from different places, and gives you like an accurate response. It means that AI is being trained in such a way that is feeding off all the data that is available.
Hmm.
So, and we keep every day in, day out, we keep putting more data and information out there for AI to thrive. So that is why I've said that AI is here to stay. We have nothing to do about that. The only thing we can do is the due diligence we were doing before. we have to do it more than ever. So because
Right.
we are in a video meeting now, it's not enough to say that an approval should happen because you are
Mm.
believing that everybody in that video meeting is
Correct
real.
one there.
Now, you need to do extra checks, extra due diligence. You need to confirm that that person that you are talking to is now real. For example, this call now, how am I sure that if you are 100% real, I'm not speaking to I'm not speaking to an AI generated person, and things
Right.
like that. So verification is now very important in whatever it is that we
Mm.
are doing. We now
Right.
need to be more cybersecurity conscious than ever.
Conscious.
We need to have the mindset that AI is here to stay, and there are possibilities that some of the things that we are doing, AI is
It
involved in
can
it. There's an
replicate the
element of
same.
AI. Now, you see some
Mm.
reports, and when you see the reports, they look better than ever because of the AI input into it. Some people make posts on social media and they even forget to remove the AI prompts. And you see something like, "Can I give you a better version?" So you see that
Right.
AI is now in our everyday life. Some of the things you need
Right.
to pay attention to is when you are prompting or doing some things with AI, removing your company's sensitive information or any other
Mm-hmm.
sensitive information because AI is feeding off all of this data and
Mm-hmm.
the risks are now becoming bigger. Knowing that AI risks is here to stay. So understanding that and in your everyday life, understanding that there is AI involvement in whatever it is you are doing now,
Mm-hmm.
extra attention, doing more due diligence, ensuring that verifications are in place, ensuring that before that payment is made or that approval is done, you have factored in AI.
Verify.
What is the role of AI? What has AI got to do with this thing that I'm doing? And ensuring that you don't make such mistakes. And that is why continuous awareness is also very important to individuals, to organizations to understand AI, the importance and the risks.
Brilliant, brilliant. I mean, it's been a brilliant session. You've really smashed everything, giving us like the right words, the right ideas from your experience and wealth of knowledge. And I indeed appreciate that. Last words or like some last information from you would then be, I know you run a mentorship program, a lot of it on the internet, and then a lot of testimonies. Like I said, somebody just told me, I said, "Oh, I know that person, she's my mentor," and I'm like, wow. So if someone wants to get into your mentorship program, are you open to it first? And then how do they get on it if they are ever interested?
Okay, good question. So my mentorship program runs every year. I have one that is running currently. The next
Nice.
application will start in September by God's grace, and all the information for that I will post it publicly for people. So if you are interested in my mentorship, please follow me on my social media, my LinkedIn,
Brilliant.
my Twitter, my Instagram, and of course my TikTok. So
I'll share that.
all the information will be posted there on my social media pages. And of course, again, the benefits of my mentorship: 1 year direction in cybersecurity. I'm not going to
Nice.
promise you that you get a job because my father does not have a
So
cybersecurity company.
you're training them for solid 1 year.
Yes, 1 year direction in
Wow.
cybersecurity. By the end of the mentorship, you have a clear direction of what is the next thing for you in the field.
So do they need like is there a prerequisite? Do you have to be a CSC or computer science graduate, a maths graduate?
No,
What do they need to?
it doesn't matter.
Any walks of
The
life.
prerequisite is you want to do this thing, you are interested in it, you are passionate
Wow.
about it. That's the prerequisite. I don't really
Imagine
care the
career
field
now.
they are coming from. There are people from different sociology, microbiology, whatever it is. Just
Hmm.
come as you are, and you get
Right, that's the word
the
of
right things you need in cybersecurity.
amazing, amazing. Thank you, Dr. Iretioluwa. Thank you so much for your time with us. It's really been a brilliant session. So much knowledge, wealth and wealth of knowledge from your experience. And thank you for joining in. And I really appreciate the time you took to kind of like have us do this session together. And hopefully we'll get people who want to join into the mentorship and you can help them become you or better you or however it is. Well, maybe they would have PhD like you anyways. Well, I mean, just for them to learn from you and ride on the shoulder of a giant like yourself. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right. So hi everyone. Today's episode was really a fantastic one with Dr. Oluwa Akerele. From the wealth of knowledge she has shared with us, I really must say that your security is very important. If you just take a few learnings from what she has said, she has really delved into a lot of things. Please learn to protect yourself, protect your data, and ensure that you don't just get into panic mode of sharing data, sensitive data, whatever it is. Or like as you said, even nuggets for our children, for the elderly ones, senior citizens as well. Some of these things are like key principles or key details that we should pay attention to in whatever we do, like on a day to day right now, because the internet itself is very wide, and it's important that we protect ourselves as well. Okay, thank you and see you next time.